Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Divinity walkthrough. I've got an interesting little bit of footage here. Interesting in that my game, I completely lost. I had to restart right from the beginning. I had like a corrupted save file or something. So here I'm actually just redoing my first choice of which room I picked for the one of the bloodstones that I got. So this is the first choice that you make when selecting an elemental room.
His every word is poison, such as no serpent has ever known.
They glow with a brilliant flame, Your Grace. Even he cannot snuff it out.
Oh, but he sides with that which has no name. I know he does. He is betrayal incarnate. He tricked them once, and will try to do so again. I fear their will is weak, too weak still.
Da-da-da, da-da-da, ow, da-da-da. Oh my! Hello. Forgive me, but you startled me. I guess my head was up in the clouds. Oh, me? Sorry. I was just thinking about what it would be like if humans ate with their noses instead of their mouths. Anyway, what were you asking? Oh, yes. I saw how breezy and blowy you'd made this place. I thought it would be the perfect place to clear my head. But not to worry. I'll earn my keep. My stock of air spells will blow your socks off. Yes. Snort that spaghetti. Oh, pardon. Yes. So, you'd like to learn to cast with the best of them, would you? Have a look.
Alright, so this is the wind elemental. I'm not even going to try getting her name right, but definitely another really fine example of humor. She's got her heads in the clouds there. I don't know. They did a good job with the writing in this. But anyways, I'm not really sure why I picked her first instead of, I think I went with the Earth Elemental last time. Because the Earth Elemental's got the Geomancy scrolls as well as the Witchcraft. I guess after all of the leveling that I did, because I did just a crazy amount in Meridino's lab while I was making videos and trying to get caught up to all the footage that I had created. And so, instead of just continuing on and making even more footage, I just kind of sat there and leveled. And so anyways, long story short, I ended up, I think all of my characters have maxed out Arrow Thurge right now. In order to get the Lightning Rod trait or talent. Is it trait or talent? Anyways. Yeah, let me check here. It's talent. Talent. I get the two mixed up sometimes. But yeah, so that is going to make all of my characters immune to stun, which was my goal. And reason being, I like to use a lot of the air wands, and oftentimes, someone will be standing in some water or fluid, and I'll accidentally, zap it, and everything will get stunned, and yeah, so it ends up being a bit of a mess sometimes. But that's why I went this route. And then, actually, so then on top of that, being that I have a 5 in Aerothurge, I was like, oh, maybe I'll buy some, Aerothurge spells and check some different stuff out, because there's a lot of cool stuff that they've got, a lot of, lightning and a lot of stuns and stuff. So, right now I actually did buy a couple of, what was it, teleportation scroll or books. because now, I mean, really everybody's going to be able to use that. I don't know how useful that'll end up being. We'll see, but I figured why not. Everyone's got the air third skills to, right, and I don't think anyone other than, I think Morel had teleportation at the time, but I was like, yeah, why not put it on everybody? I'm sure it'll be useful. So, I guess maybe the strategy will be, again, because everybody's using wands, you know, if enemies do get up close to me, like melee enemies, I can just teleport them away. So, who knows? Maybe it'll turn out, maybe it won't. We'll see. But, yeah. So anyways, alright, so let's head to the... I'm not sure why I'm heading to the Goblin Village, but I guess we're going there. And again, if you've been paying attention or watching all of the rest of my videos... Oh, nope, okay. We're not going to the Goblin Village. My bad. Okay. But yeah, so anyways, if you've been watching the other videos, obviously I'm going way out of order as far as... I don't know. Though there's no real storyline. You know, I feel like this game is like, it's got one big... I guess there's one big story arc, and then tons of little, like, side questy type things that you can do. And so I'm skipping all over the place. Originally here, you know, you come to Sicil, and you know, the goal is to find out who murdered Counselor Jake, and we're not quite there yet, but we'll be wrapping that up pretty soon.
Things is chaos. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets... Now that the herd's gone, I recently sold most of the tender loves to a trader heading north. Plenty of business that way these days. Those miners must be preparing for a mighty great feast. Wish I could have a nibble on my dear darlings, all ground and spiced. That louse! Did he even bother grilling a single luscious chop? I bet he wasted every last morsel. Captain Aureus will have a thing or two to say about this.
Okay, so this is Bertia, and I'm finally finishing up some dialogue with her. I don't think I ever had even spoke to her before this point in this new game. Again, unfortunately, I completely lost my old game again because of like a corrupted save file. So that was really annoying. I've had a couple of issues with this game. I would say that this is literally like, so it's one of the most fun games I've ever played, but it's also, I think, the most or the game that I've had the most issues with kind of stuff like this. Either a save got corrupted, or you know, I couldn't load into a zone. You know, maybe even a similar issue there with, you know, a corrupted game save or something like that. So again, unfortunately, like, I love the game, but man, it's got some really devastating bugs in it. So yeah, so anyways, long story short there, I had to, I redid the initial dialogue there with Bertia, and kind of told her about, what is the mortician's name, and how he essentially tried to cover up, or they threw the body in the casket of Jake. So here she's gonna confront Aureus.
And?
Well, aren't you going to arrest that stinking thief?
I'll have a talk with him, madam.
Okay. So Aureus says he's gonna have a talk with him, with Roberts. That's his name.
If you must.
And then I don't think he's got anything to say about
Yes,
this.
and he also spends most of his time in the guise of a cat, licking God's knows which body parts.
Yeah.
Sex.
I may have, maybe if I would have tried the option there where you say, let's talk about Jake's murder, there might have been a dialogue option in there. I should actually really explore that a bit more. But I do remember at one point when I was back, what was it, talking about Eglindir, the old elf guy, the crazy guy. And I know there was an option to get Aureus to try to
hello, love.
arrest Roberts, but I never did that. So I'm not sure what ends up becoming of that option. I guess maybe that's another thing that I need to figure out.
Sauce hunters, eh? All right, proper, we're fine. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me dear plump Ogget. The finest gold. How much exactly? Enough to cover the costs.
Actually, we'll keep this gold for ourselves. Aye, we procured that gold and it's ours to keep.
Oi, get out of here before I give you what for, you bleeding stingy rotter.
Okay. I hate these options. Some of these, yeah, options are just so terrible. Ugh. But all right, so I told Bertia that we're gonna keep the gold.
A fine profit you've made off another's misery. Doesn't a source hunter have sufficient opportunity to turn coin in decent ways without outright manipulating a civilian? You ought to be grateful a humble man made a profit off of one of those pointy-hatted potion-brewing villains. And in any case, I doubt you'll put the cash to better use than the mortician could have.
Lonesome? Spiritless?
You lot know, I want nothing more than to eradicate every jot of source in creation. But in this case, I hardly see how confiscating that gold does any good now. Roberts was sufficiently troubled by his own decision, not to mention our outing of his deed, to consider doing something similar again. Still, I suppose, as you say, that gold may well buy us the very sword or crossbow that we'll use to puncture the black oozing heart of the sorcerer who stole Jake's body.
Okay. So yeah, like I said, I didn't give Bertia the gold that. So we kind of convinced Roberts that keeping the gold, it was kind of like the hush money for covering up the fact that Jake's body wasn't in the in his casket. So you know, and I assume either he or I'm assuming it was him that had like either, you know, killed the sheep and then didn't compensate Bertia for the sheep. So we got the gold from him and then decided to keep it ourselves instead of giving it to her, which obviously would have been a much better thing to do. Medora there essentially scolds us for it and says, "Hey, yo, what's the deal? Why are we profiting off of, you know, a commoner's misfortunes?" And then the source hunters rationalize it by saying, "Well, you know, we could use that money to buy the crossbow that kills whatever the final baddie, you know." So really doing a little bit of mental gymnastics there to try to rationalize piss poor behavior, frankly. But again, I'm going with the egotistical route as opposed to altruistic, and I'm trying to stay true, I guess, to those options. Now, all right, so here's one interesting thing that you can do, and this is, see, I think this stuff is kind of fun. You're completely not really meant to do this, but what we're going to be able to do here is we're going to throw our teleporters over a river and access an area that we're not supposed to be able to get to. Whether or not you find it all that useful is, you know, I guess on a person-to-person basis, but I'm going to do some interesting stuff here, and I never even did this the first time around that I played. These guys here, I don't remember what these guys. We're gonna come back here. I'm not going to really do much with their dialogue. Actually, kind of wanted to see if they'd sell me anything decent. But yeah, this is all. These guys just have random stuff, it seems.
To sing to you of Gracchus Rex.
I'm warm as fresh apple pie.
Excuse me.
If you meet anyone...
Take my leave. Let's get out of here.
Think she sees the
Okay.
future, does she? Ha! Think she'll see it coming if I slap her upside her empty head?
Wow. Was that Medora? I think that was. I think it was Medora. It was either Medora or the other source hunter commenting about, I don't know, something about slapping her up alongside the head. Alright, so, apparently my telekinesis skill is good enough to throw that teleporter pyramid all the way across the river there. Otherwise, I know in other playthroughs I've had to have somebody with like a high amount of strength to reach. But yeah, so this is like, I don't know. Again, this is a super goofy time to be here at this particular spot. I'm not gonna go too much farther up this path. This leads to an area. I may actually come back here to do some other stuff. There's some just really, again, this is a really goofy time to be here. Again, and I think you weren't really meant to throw the teleporters over the river, but you know what? I don't know. Sometimes it's fun getting to places where I'm not supposed to be. I remember spending, so I think it was probably my second playthrough. I spent so much time just sneaking around, trying to get to places that, you know, like super early, and this was one of the things that I found. We're going to have to come back here in a little bit because, so basically this area leads to, or this path leads to Sacred Stone. And Sacred Stone is the, I don't know if I want to call it a town. I guess it's kind of a town of the Immaculates, or maybe their base. Yeah, maybe that's accurate. I don't know. Anyways, the Immaculates hang out there, and there's a couple of buildings, a couple of merchants, which is actually really nice. And that's actually really the reason why I wanted to go all the way over there. All right, so here's a diary found on a dead guy. I think this is. He's talking about Heartseekers. The Heartseeker is a bow, and I will grab that in a. I don't know if it's going to be this video. It might be the next one. But here, I think he. Anything short of death to capture Heartseeker. Yeah. Okay, so he. It's actually kind of a clue there. He's I think right above him. Like he jumped out. I don't know if he jumped out or tried to obtain the Heartseeker. Anyways, the Heartseeker bow is on this. It's like on a fallen statue, and kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And I think you have to destroy the statue, and then the bow will actually drop to the ground, and then you can go around and pick it up. So. Again, I'm not sure. I don't think it's actually going to be this video. It'll probably be the next one, but I'm just going to grab anything I can find here on my way to Silverstone. Or, sorry, did I say Silverstone? Sacred Stone, I'm sorry, is the name of that place. Unfortunately, though, we don't have what we need to get in, though, as well. And again, I'm totally jumping way ahead. We still have a ton of stuff left to do in the Sicil area. And I really need to get back there. I've been jumping ahead to try to unlock more merchants, and you know, the reason being is because I like to go.
What have you got stashed in
like every time you level, you can check out the merchants and they'll restock their goods, and it's a great way to make more money and just find better equipment because, you know, I don't know, the equipment that you get while you're like leveling up and actually accomplishing things is good and everything, but if you really want to get like a lot of really good equipment for everyone, you need to be constantly checking the merchants. And part of that is having access to more merchants, and then on top of that, it's you know, visiting them every single time, either one of your main character's level. I think maybe even if Medora levels, maybe that would do it too. But I noticed when my my one chick levels Ambrosia there, because she's a hired henchman, that's not triggering the merchants to restock. So again, I don't know if it's just the main characters only, or if it's like the special characters as well.
To this holy house of Immaculates. I am Loic, enlightened one among Immaculates, spokesman for the holy conduit, as she is spokesman for the goddess herself. Hers is the blood. Then it shall be my pleasure to answer them. We are the chosen ones of the goddess. The benedictions of the blood render our bodies and spirits unblemished, for such is her mercy, that we may all become part of the sacred soul. And you too, Seeker, could become one such part. You find yourself in the goddess's temple. Therefore, it follows she wants you to take the true path. So here, have this hallowed tome. Read it. Absorb the wisdom within. Then find the second part and do with it the same. If an immaculate you want to be, a test of knowledge shall be your first step towards enlightenment. Do you hold it to be true, O Seeker, that you are ready to be tested? A most sacred trio of queries shall I put before thee, but even if thou falterest but a single time, unworthy will thou be deemed of the goddess's love. Your unpreparedness disappoints me. But an immaculate is not born, he is made. Made you may yet be, through study, devotion, and diligence.
Okay, so this is Loic. I'm going to do one thing here before I continue on with his dialogue. So once you complete his little task here, he asks you if you want to undergo. Oh, he's got a couple of questions for you, and if you answer them right, it'll start the infiltrating the Immaculate side quest. I don't know if I want to call it. Actually, it's a pretty major quest, so I don't know if it's that accurate to call it a side quest, but I think you actually do need to do it in order to. Well, maybe not. maybe if you kind of do things the way I do, maybe you can kind of get around it. I'm not 100% sure on that, but eventually we will be doing it. But anyway, so what I actually did here was, and I didn't even know I could do this. I pickpocketed from Loic, and Loic actually has 2 keys on him, and then he's got an amulet as well. And you're gonna want to, if you're going to pickpocket from him, you want all 3. The one thing I don't quite understand, though, is why I was able to pickpocket with a skill level of 5 with Ambrosia, but I brought, because I didn't actually want to put those points into pickpocketing with her. I don't feel like it's a little bit of a waste because she's more like my combat-oriented person. So that's what you want. You want the Enlightened Amulet. You want and then the 2 keys, and that's gonna get us into some interesting spots. And then unfortunately, I couldn't steal his armor there. That's really good stuff. I wanted that. It's a piece of heavy armor that's got +1 to wand on it, but. That's all right. I'll have to try to get a set of that somewhere else. But anyways, again, I'm not sure why I was able to pickpocket him with only a level 5 pickpocketing. I was trying to think of different reasons why that'd be the case. I'm just not sure. But what I did was I came back here after. Basically, what I did was I went to the end of time and I dumped off Medora and I put Wolgraf back into my party. And I gave him a bunch of points into pickpocketing. And for whatever reason, I think Wolgraf needed to be at 6 in pickpocketing to steal from Loic. So again, I have no idea why that's the case. I'm not sure if there's like a dexterity component to it, but that doesn't make sense. My impression was that when you steal things and just the fact that you can even steal from someone is completely based off of just that... that stat, the pickpocketing stat. But anyways, all right, so what I did there, obviously, I stole from him, stole his keys. The key is what opens up the hatch. Obviously, I had to use invisibility in order to actually enter the hatch, because otherwise I'm thinking that would start a fight. And then this waypoint shrine leads back into the area very, very close to Sacred Stone. So we'll be able to... Normally, that's the route that you would take to get here. So basically what you would do is you wouldn't steal from Loic. I mean, I shouldn't say that. Again, there's always more than one way to do things, it feels like, in this game. But I think that the intent was to undergo Loic's trials. Basically, you talk to him and initiate the next quest, which we will do eventually. And then he... again, like I said, initiate that quest and then kind of complete it. You have to go through, there's an area to the north of Silver Glen, which we've kind of been close to, but we haven't actually gone through it. And then I think actually I think we'll kill Loic in there or something like that. And get his amulet. You get the keys from him then. You can go get those bloodstones, by the way, which, excuse me. Awesome that you can get 2 more bloodstones from the basement there. And again, then the amulet as well. The amulet was interesting. I thought that I needed a different amulet to get in here, but not the case. You can actually use the amulet that you steal from Loic to get inside Sacred Stone here, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Present your immaculate amulet if you are a friend to our cause. Welcome, compatriot.
Okay, so there you have it. I grabbed the Enlightened Amulet from Ambrosia using magical pockets, and I'm going to walk into Sacred Stone. So again, this is super weird that we can even get to this point. I kind of went out of my way to kind of try to do this at this point in the game. You know, what you really need to be able to do, you need to be able to steal from Loic. That's the big thing that gets you here early. And then I mean, yeah, and by doing that, actually I wouldn't have even needed to use the teleporter pyramids over the river. We could have actually got here literally just from stealing from Loic. Again, but you need the amulet to actually get inside here, and then you need his 2 keys. One of the keys, it seemed to me anyway, was what gets you into the hatch, and then the other key, I think, that's what activated that waypoint shrine in there. And used the teleporter. Now, here you've got Attenbera. This chick is absolutely brutal. She's brutal. And I think she's got 3 different conversation checks if you want to buy stuff from her, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to take a bunch of cuts here, but we'll be doing that in the next few videos, is actually being able to walk around in Sacred Stone and buy from her. So, as always, hope the guide was helpful, and hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.